Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. Now that the 240SX is back home after finally getting tuned on the dyno, I want to start putting some miles under its belt, but it's in desperate need of an alignment. So I've come out to HBI Auto in Mocksville, North Carolina. We're going to get aligned and take it one step further and get it corner balanced as well. Like I've talked about before, my end goal with this car has always been to build a wicked fun street car. I never planned on drifting it or racing it, and like we saw with the dyno video, it's incredibly fun as it sits right now. It builds a ton of power, down low, very usable power, and you know, even with everything all out of whack, it still feels really good. So with getting the alignment and the corner balance dialed in, this thing's gonna feel awesome. So for a true corner balance, we're not only looking at the crossways weight distribution, but we're also taking into consideration other things like basically how the vehicle is going to be normally driven. You know, fuel level, the weight of the driver, the tire pressure, all of that takes into consideration, because once you set the corner balance and significantly change one of those variables, it's going to change how the car is balanced. So Dan just activated the scales. Here's what we're looking at. It's actually a really good starting point. So you can see each wheel displayed here and how much weight is sitting on each wheel. The total car weight is 2,960 pounds. This cross percentage right here, 55%, we want that to be as close to 50 as possible. And when I hit that button right there, you can see, you know, how it varies between, you know, the different corners, like I was talking about, the cross distribution. So try to get that as close to 50 as we can. Before we go any further, Dan's checking all the tire pressure and just topping them off as needed. Okay. The concept of corner balancing is pretty straightforward, but it's definitely a tedious process because there's a whole lot of back and forth and measuring and checking, because you know, you change one thing or adjust something and it'll affect something on the opposite end of the car. So it's trying to find that fine balance. Just in case you guys haven't seen some of the earlier videos I filmed on this car, the majority of the suspension is aftermarket. I have SPL adjustable control arms, factory Nissan replacement lower control arms, a Nismo power brace up front, stock sway bars. The brakes are big wheel woods all the way around, so there's a lot of adjustability in here, but because of the inherent limitations of having some of that non-adjustable factory stuff, we can't do a full-on track prep. So there's only going to be so much we can do. We can get it a lot better than it is right now, but especially for a street car, it's going to be a really nice setup. With all the tire pressures double checked, Dan's going to work on disconnecting the sway bars before he starts making any adjustments, and I'm going to have Chris explain why.
The sway bar is basically an additional spring in the car. So a sway bar runs perpendicular across the car, and then the sway bar arms attached to either side, or it's one single unit that actually spans the entire, based upon the diameter of the bar and the thickness internally. If it's a hollow bar, develops the spring rate. So as it twists up and down, or this way to this way, it creates spring tension. That spring tension basically creates another spring in the car. So if you dive into the corner and the right front dives and goes up, the left front dives and goes up at a certain spring rate. The theory is the stiffer the car spring, the lighter the sway bar you can run. The softer the car spring, then the heavier sway bar that you run. It's all about spring rate.
The various suspension components need to work in unison with one another. You can't have one thing working against something else, even if it's only like at a certain point in the driving experience, like, you know, turning left or something, because that leads to unpredictability and, you know, lack of confidence and all of that stuff. So by having the sway bars in a neutral position, or as close as we can get to a neutral position without having the adjustable end links, It'll allow the suspension to do what it needs to do, and it'll allow the sway bar to do what it was intended to. So they will work in conjunction with one another, but you won't have one fighting with one another.
All right, so just got done measuring the 4 corners. Over there we got 25.5, 24 7/8, and this is our low corner. The 24 1/4. Another problem we have over here, a lot of positive camber. There's like almost no negative cambers of this, and we're gonna need some being this low.
Oh yeah,
so
that's a nice little wear spot that's developing.
You can
right
literally,
there.
I mean, you put a straight edge, it's beyond the fender, so it's any kind of hard left, it's gonna hit.
Needs a little help.
So we're definitely gonna have to lean that over and pick it up a bit. But this is also a light corner, so we get to try to figure that out. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, we'll handle it.
Now we're working on trying to simulate my weight in the driver's seat.
Be a lot of this. One turn was literally an 1/8 of an inch. Alright, so it's got 1/8 inch threads. That's cool. That means I can count and I don't have to do this so many times.
So just by raising that corner, we've already gotten better, down from 55 to 53, gained a little bit more weight out back.
Man.
Third time's the charm.
I know. That's really close. We keep going up in little tiny increments. That's what it is.
It's amazing what adjusting that one corner will do.
I may have to come down a tiny bit here, which would help out because I believe this is heavy back here.
With the stiffness of the body, it's not allowing a whole lot of flex, so as he raises up that side, it's actually raising up this side just a little bit. It's not as dramatic of a change, but you might have to bring this side down just a little bit to help compensate.
That's there.
That's it.
We finally made it to our 24 7/8. Cool. Now we have gap. Let's see where everything else moved. So it added about 30 pounds to the back and about 20 to the front. By diving it to the front.
Yeah.
And it went from 53.6 to 52.0.
Word of advice, don't take your car to get fenders rolled by someone who is not proficient at it.
That happens.
Because then you'll end up with that.
Yeah. So we're almost 25, like 15, 16. So he came up with 16 by just moving that one corner.
So something else that I should have mentioned before, when you do a corner balance, the car really needs to be more or less finished. Like you're not gonna add or change anything too significantly. Obviously I don't have the front end all done, but the car was just so out of whack I didn't really feel comfortable driving it the way it was, because that's kind of important, and I have not had any time to work on it since I've got back, because I've got all of the other project content that I'm working on. So I'll get the front end back on, hopefully not in the too distant future, and if anything needs to be changed, it can be adjusted later on. Fender's a little too crooked.
Yeah, it's throwing me off with that because I stood back and looked at the rake and I was like, well, the rake looks good. So let's find a better spot to measure this thing. The rockers seem to be dead on here. Literally, this needs to go 0.2 centimeters down, and this one needs to go 0.234 centimeters down. So that's it, and that would actually help out with our weight problem we just created by lowering that side.
It's amazing how precise we can get when we actually find a good measuring spot, huh?
Yeah, rockers, not roll fenders.
So by lowering the left front,
You almost put it back where it was.
yep, back and forth, back and forth.
Yep. Well, now we gotta lower the other side, so. also got to remember the front bumper weight.
Right.
Now that we got the ride height pretty close, now we're fine tuning. So I just turned this side up 1 to add a little more. And I'm gonna turn that back there 3 so I can get my weight back. Because when we initially picked that corner up, it fixed the weight, but the ride height was still really wonky. So we had to level the car out, and it put me kind of in the same spot we were in at the beginning. So now I'm doing the fine one turn here, 3 turns back there to get my weight back kind of where I want it. So let's see what it does. Go from there. All right, so if we got this thing at 50.7 street car, fantastic. It's going to drive great, drive like you haven't driven before. But if we were doing full race, we'd be a couple more hours of baby turns here, there, and here and there. And what can we move over?
Yeah.
Do we need this right here? Can we move this control unit here? All that kind of stuff to make that 50 dead on the money. So this right here is great for what you're doing. And like you were saying before, without the adjustability of soft sway bars and stiff sway bars, they are what they are. When I bolt those on, we'll actually see if it changes. It shouldn't. They should be neutral right now. So, that being said, this is going to be a way better driving car than it was when it came in.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I'm excited.
That's good, man. That's good.
So that's as far as we're going to go with the corner balancing. This thing's going to be awesome. He's working on bolting up the sway bars right now so we can wrap up the alignment. Any guesses on that back wheel?
I'm gonna say it's probably a plus camber. It's out there. First camber. We'll probably end up being 1.5, almost 2. And somewhere we may be around this, because when you go negative camber on the back, when you actually take off and it squats, you lose contact patch on the wheels. So you want to be a little closer to 1, maybe a little less, and that's to keep traction. So on the track you can get a little bit less, but you still got to remember, if you got power, you're going to lose it in the back if you got a lot of negative camber.
I didn't know that.
Always got to remember that contact patch. That's what's important. What's up? What'd I say? Positive 0.7. Thing's way out there.
Nice.
I mean, way out. Look at this thing.
It's all sorts of different ways.
They do over exaggerate with the picture,
Right.
but it's definitely off. And we're definitely going to start in the back. That's dead exactly what it wants to be. Now I'm going to actually pull it down to about that 0.6. So you got about 1.5 degrees negative camber in the back. That should work out well. Toe, we want to try to keep it almost 0 as much as we can, pretty close. It wants a little bit of negative toe, so when it takes off, it actually pulls the wheels back just a tiny bit.
Oh, okay.
Got to remember how the suspension works. When it goes, since it's independent, it squats and does this number.
Right.
So that's why we got to run a little bit of toe in the back, toe out in the front. Just a little. The way this control arm is designed, it's got a rear mount and a front mount. So you can pull them together and get a lot of camber, or you can do just this one and then adjust your toe and your camber, and you can fine tune your toe with your actual toe length there.
SPL makes good stuff.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm digging it. I am digging it.
Looking much better.
So the toe is nowhere near as bad on this side, but the camber is. Oh, and I see why. Oh.
What?
This is a double man. You can see the adjustment difference.
Oh.
Fully control arms. I just like when everything works out. Pretty much went as far as we could on the camera without losing our patch. Toe's looking pretty good. It's gonna move around a little just from this lasers. But alright, let's see how bad we are up here. Not too bad. That's all I can get on the other side. Oh, yeah. Sunshine is lovely. All right. Pretty straight. All right.
So does it pass?
It passes. It passes for sure. I want to drive. Let's see what it is on the road now. See how well it drives. We get to go on a test track.
Well, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. Dan and I just took the car on a good test drive, and it feels awesome.
Yeah, definitely a lot of power. Drives good. I like it.
Good,
for sure.
Good overall?
Good overall. Good overall. I dig it.
Awesome.
Makes all the right sounds.
Yeah. That's all that matters, right?
That's right.
Anyway, big thanks to HBI Auto for letting me come out and film, and you helping me out with everything, explaining stuff. I definitely learned a lot. But I'm gonna go pick up Crystal. We're gonna take this thing out and enjoy it for a while.
Yeah, you should before the rain gets here.
Yeah, that's true. Because I don't have wiper blades yet.
Rain X is where it's at.
Heck yeah. Well, thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like below. And if you haven't subscribed already, consider doing so, because there's always a lot more content where that came from. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.